Nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you. So tell me your name and your story.
Yeah, definitely. My name's Katree Saunders. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yes.
I got set up under Operation Chronic Problem after I met President Obama and asked him about medical cannabis patients' rights.
Yeah.
We were helping people get signed up on our state program. I signed up probably 800 people before we got indicted.
Wow.
So I helped lay the foundation for what is now the cannabis industry. But I went to prison for 4 months. I violated probation while I was on paper for my Marinol use. At the beginning of my pretrial, I got involved into a really bad motor vehicle accident, and that led me back on a bunch of opiates that I had worked hard to get off of. So I got a new probation officer towards the end of my probation, and they didn't like whether they couldn't differentiate whether I was using cannabis or using the pill, but I had to start using cannabis because I almost died. I felt like my heart was really bad problems, and I had lost a few friends while I was on probation for medical cannabis. So at the end of my probation, I violated me. So I did 4 months and I lost everything. I was a stay-at-home mom before that, worked at home doing room reservations. My husband divorced me and I lost everything.
Wow. That's crazy, and you was using it to heal yourself at the time?
Yep, from opiates.
Wow.
So I'm 7 years pill-free now.
Wow. Well, congratulations. And where you from, Las Vegas?
Las Vegas, yes.
Wow. I thought Las Vegas was one of the states where
No, back then we only had grow your own laws and we didn't
okay.
have distribution laws. And because it's still federally legal, that's where the problem is. The DEA didn't like that I was being a little cannabis messenger and helping people get on the program.
Wow.
So I signed up about 800 people in a matter of probably like 4 or 5 months.
And then being with Obama, that didn't make it no better.
No, not at all. And then I worked with another few people in the community who were also doing the same thing.
Yeah.
We were in Nevada Compassionate Care. There was the happiness consultant, Dr. Reefer, and I think like a few other people that were helping people. And we all got busted under Operation Chronic Problem.
So, what was it like in prison for you as a female and going through? Have you ever been in prison before that?
No, I'd never been to prison before.
Wow.
So it was a bit much.
Yeah. So, what was the sentence they gave you?
I was at the end of my probation. I was supposed to take it off, I think, in July of that year, and I got in trouble in March. So they let me finish up my paper by going to prison.
Okay. Wow. So y'all got to realize that it's not just men that is fighting these battles. It's women. And like she was taken away from her family, lost her marriage, and I mean, think about it. For cannabis, that's legal now in 34 states.
Definitely. And so for like the past few years, I've been fighting for social justice. When I got out of prison, I got back in the industry and I helped grand open a few places. But then they changed the law to exclude cannabis felons from working in the industry.
Wow. So now you can't even get work.
Now I can't even get work.
Wow. And that's what we've been talking about, educating our people and us coming together, fighting the system, because I mean, it's some people that's really just going through medical issues, but I feel, and I was talking to Ms. Mary about this earlier, I feel like we have targets on our back just by being African American.
Definitely.
Because they look at, so, you know, I'm thinking probably a police officer or whatever looking at you thinking that you caring or something for somebody else or making the issue bigger than it really seemed. Because I realized even everything I went through, even if I wasn't the guy, they looking to just get somebody and make it seem like we got what we need.
Yeah, definitely. I got in trouble for such a small amount. It was 3.5 grams the first time and 10 grams the last time. And I had a $100 fine. So 2011 was my original indictment. So here we are 10 years later, going on 11 years, I'm still having to fight for social justice from a $100 fine.
Wow, and that's what we talk about. That's the injustice. I know a lot of, you know, white guys that I know that had way more than that, and all they got was a fine.
Right.
Ain't got it taken off of their record. And I talk to these guys. I'm like, how did you do that? It's like, well, that's what they gave me. And they was able to have second chances to go out and do right. And you know, by the time we have these records, whether it's male or female, it's hard for us to move on because we was talking about this earlier. That's all we know.
Right.
And then, like you said, you can't even go back to do what you know how to do. And they done cut it off because now they're gonna build another case on you just for trying to feed your family and feed yourself with something that you do know. So I mean, it's a
vicious cycle.
Yes, but guess what? We have to. We was talking about this earlier that we have to use our testimonies to help and save the next generation and hopefully our kids and the people in our family.
We actually just worked on a bill in Las Vegas that just passed today, AB 158,
Wow.
will address juvenile possession reform, so that our youth won't get targeted. They'll have a chance and not have it on their record, so they won't have their lives destroyed, their college scholarships taken away, because that matters, that we need to help the next generation so that they're not dealing with some of the problems that we face as adults in the cannabis industry.
Yeah, and that's what the Last Prison Project is all about. Helping those who don't have a voice, and while we hear that we can be that voice for them. And I just applaud you, sister, for being an advocate to stand up to injustice, because a lot of people just walk away, be like, oh, you know, I'm done with this, I'm gonna move on, I could keep it to myself.
Thank you.
But I just love everybody that's here that's just like, you know what, and it's hard for me to see, because you know, even being incarcerated and walking through the jail system, and every now and then before you go up, you get a chance to see the female side, but you don't really know what's going on. You just happen to see some women, like you like, but you like.
Trying to go to the nurse.
So it's like, but you don't get it, like, you know. And I understand the struggle and the pain, but to see that this is somebody's mom, or sister, daughter, auntie. And, you know, because for us, like, we do everything for the women in our lives. And to have somebody incarcerated, I had an auntie that was incarcerated, but you don't really understand, once they take a woman away from their family, you really destroy the whole family.
I have 4 sons. My oldest son is in the Air Force now. He's married. I'm glad that he's on a good path after everything I've been through. My 14-year-old actually just got caught with a vape pen in Wisconsin.
Wow.
And I think it has to do with a lot because he's mixed. He's in a small, like, predominantly white town. So he's definitely targeted. I'm like, he probably has PTSD from everything that I've been through, that we've been through. You know, kids need to be able to have safe access if they're medical patients as well.
Well, we're praying for you, sister, and thank you for being a part of this movement, and we're going to keep fighting the fight for our people for injustice. So salute.
Important. Thank you.